Hi guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Today is Thursday, January 19th, 2017. Silver is currently trading at $16.95. Gold is at $1,202.20. It is 8:39 a.m. I wanted to bring up a couple things that are going on in the world economic news here. President Mario Draghi is keeping the European Central Bank stimulus program operating at nearly full output, while inflation is picking up. And the Central European Bank has kept its key interest rates and stimulus programs unchanged. They met and decided they weren't going to make any changes, even though inflation was setting in. Anti-European Union candidates, which is the great news, but it's going to cause a lot of unrest and destabilization in the very near future because America's economy is very much connected with the Eurozone. But anti-European Union candidates are set for a possible destabilization of the Eurozone. There's elections in France, Netherlands, and possibly Italy. Remember, we had the Brexit vote. The British Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister, Theresa May, she said she's ready to start talks with the EU on the separation terms and the terms of leaving the EU. And even though the European Bank, the central banks in Europe have kept their interest rates dramatically low, even negative interest rates, inflation in the Eurozone, which is 19 countries, has jumped to 1.1% in December from 0.6% the month before. So the government central banks have been buying also 80 billion euros a month in government bonds. So we see zombie banks. We know we've been seeing in the news all over about Deutsche Bank, the central bank in Germany, which are these zombie banks that are dead. Dead banks being propped up, and these governments that are bankrupt being propped up only by the central bank. And whenever you continue economic stimulus, or that's what they call it, it's printing of money, distributing it to banks, having negative interest rates to try to encourage the banks to lend the money that they're printing instead of just holding on to it. And these massive banks are just pilfering their countries or keeping the money that is being printed. And so it's not passing down to the wage workers. So wages are not going up, but housing is going up. Inflation is going up. And the effects are massive. And there are zombie banks. They're keeping them alive. And there are zombie governments at this point entering the Eurozone. And with the more prosperous countries, like we have Britain, meeting to determine the terms to be able to leave the EU very shortly, is going to cause massive disruptions, which is going to carry on to the United States. So get ready. Also, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of you guys that may have bought in at the historic highs, and to some of you who get discouraged. And I wanted to just reach out and remember why you got into this in the first place. You saw something. You saw that things weren't right. You saw that you couldn't really put your finger on it. Things weren't right in the world. The things that you were being told by these corporate-controlled medias, and they are corporate-controlled. They just recently, within the past 8 years, passed a law to allow government to operate propaganda programs on the United States citizens, which had been banned back in the 70s when there was a big public outroar. So they are using the media to be able to manipulate the masses for their own purposes. And for some of you, you saw something. You saw that things weren't lining up. You saw that going into a presidential election, they were calling for 10-point leads, 5-point leads, just a landslide for Hillary Clinton, and that she was crushed by a landslide, 300 electoral votes. So you saw that you weren't hearing all the truth, that you were being sold an idea. You saw something just isn't right in the economy. They keep telling you this great recovery, this great unemployment rate, which is almost near zero, but you see the closed down factories. You see the stores that are closing down. You see the small businesses that are suffering. You see in this country that it's mostly the massive box stores that are thriving, such as Walmart, that distributes Chinese goods throughout the United States, and you see the small town business people are closing down. There is a great recession. That's a great way to describe it, because we see the American economy truly suffering, and the people in unrest. I remember they were sitting on Wall Street during the Occupy movement that was co-opted and then taken over by the controlled opposition. But the people were upset. The people were upset because they don't have money. They don't personally have money. The younger generation doesn't have money. We have Social Security issues looming. The fact that there's not as much money going in as entitlements that are owed, and the money's gone. And we see it's so much that it's brought up on the presidential debate stage. It's such a massive issue, and you're not even hearing about it in the news. No one is talking about it in the news. But during the presidential debate, they begin to discuss, we're bankrupt. Social Security fund is bankrupt. And they're keeping this information from the people, but the people are getting upset. And you remember why you got into this in the first place, and especially some of the people that watch some of the small rises and falls. We see that silver is a little down compared to yesterday, and that's just one day. But go ahead and get your silver stack out. Take a look at it. Get it in your hands. Go through and do another inventory check. See if you don't feel better. There's nothing that compares to having real money, not connected to the bank, secured, and in your own possession, taking your life into your own hands. Having it in a place where it's safe from collapsing banks, collapsing stock markets. In fact, when the world does bad, you profit. Even if you bought in at historic highs, what has changed since that stock market collapse? What has changed as far as policy? Things have gotten worse. They've passed laws to be able to take your savings accounts and 401ks from individuals. So things have not gotten better. There's been no banking reform. In fact, they're preparing to take more money. We have J.P. Morgan Chase picking up 550 million ounces of silver. You think these guys don't know what's going on? Citigroup is one of the largest holders of paper silver in the world, and it's definitely in the United States. And we know there's definitely a part of their price manipulation scam to be able to suppress the price, along with J.P. Morgan. They also own an extreme amount of derivatives. But these people understand what is coming, just like you did. They want to keep the populace calm, keep the populace happy. They don't want torches at their door. They don't want upset masses, broken masses coming and complaining, where's my cut? They want to just give just enough to keep people happy, just enough to keep people quiet, and then enough entertainment and distraction to be able to keep them calm. Nothing has changed. In fact, they've only printed money. This recovery, they've only printed money, created stimulus, created just vast amounts of paper that they say has value, and given it to their own banker friends. They've only devalued the currency. Nothing has changed. They've only put off the inevitable, which is the correction that was necessary to heal this economy. What it will take for America to heal is a massive crash, and for this bubble to pop, which it is coming. And that's what it's going to take for this country to really be fixed, to really drain the swamp. And they haven't let that happen. They don't want it to happen on their watch. They want to kick it down the road. And these things have not taken place yet. They were afraid in the time when silver was at those highs. They were afraid for the dollar. And they created millions of paper ounces of silver in order to suppress the price so that it would become less desirable, that people would sell. People would move their wealth back into the dollar, back into the system, back into the market. It's not good when people's wealth is taken out of the system for them. It is a threat to the dollar. And these massive banks that hold these paper accounts, these oversold paper accounts, are the ones that benefit from a collapse, that benefit from the dollar, because they are in line with the Federal Reserve. They're among the 5 banks that produce the dollar, that manufacture the dollar, and they make vast amounts of profits by having a stranglehold of a monopoly on the creation of money for the United States of America and the world. And so nothing has changed. Only opinion that is pushed to you on the news, only numbers that are pushed to you on the price, but nothing has changed. And your day is coming. Your day is coming. Don't get discouraged. In fact, when the price of silver drops after you've made large investments, buy more. This is the way to be able to create more profits from your investment you've already made. Because when it rises, those positive gains will begin to erase the negative. And whatever else you have coming in now, continue to invest, continue to stack. In the end, it will pay off, because the population will wake up and begin to realize it is the only real money. All right, well, thank you guys for joining me. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe, like the video. If you like the content, leave me some comments in the comment box about what you think, about where you see our economy going, and share the videos. There'll be more content just like this, and I thank you guys again very much for joining me on the Silver Report.